Okay, I'm Mycroft Holmes. We're back at it. The first thing we're picking up is one of the more annoying side quests. Because this wants you to find map coordinates based on song length.
Oh my god, that's very secret world there.
Yes, so and even if I didn't know anything, I would have had to look up the length of certain songs.
That
Safety dance and don't stop believing.
beautiful, and that's the song choice too.
Yeah, and we won't pick this up till the end of the video. I was just making a note of that. There's the entrance to the dungeon from last video I put up.
Mm-hmm.
And let's meet Tuvok. Yes, that is I believe that is the same voice actor as Lieutenant Tuvok in Star Trek Voyager, which is why he looks like Lieutenant Tuvok, talks like him, and will make a Star Trek reference.
Mm-hmm.
He literally looks like Tuvok.
Kind of does, yeah. I haven't seen much Voyager. I'm not exactly when it comes to Star Trek, it's TNG and DS9 for me. But yeah, it's the eyebrows.
It's not sarcasm.
Yeah, it's the eyebrows that really sell it.
She's right.
So these guys are Orochi.
Mm-hmm.
They are a Japanese megacorp that has dealings with the secret world.
Think tank, working with the CDC, troubleshooting agency, for particular kinds of trouble.
They're
like Mount Vernon, Iowa last summer.
For those of you who aren't aware of it, I think we may have mentioned it in the thread, or not in the thread, but in the this thing. They're named after Yamato no Orochi, a legendary 8-headed serpent that hunted down some of the most powerful gods in the Japanese pantheon. And granted, they killed it, but I mentioned this. It's kind of like naming your big media corporation Leviathan or something. It's just it's villain naming.
They're tearing up our perimeter. I mean, actually,
they have some serious hubris.
Yeah,
we'll see a lot more of them later on and in Tokyo.
On multiple levels.
A flight of superheroes? A fray?
We're done here.
She's trying to figure out the multiple of superhero, which I believe is a cape. I believe it's a cape of superheroes.
Actually, yeah, that sounds about right. Terms of venery are dumb terms of venery are great. Did you know that English is the only language to have those? At least as far as I'm aware.
They don't have those in other languages.
Nope.
They don't have like the term like a parliament of owls.
No,
or a murder
of
crows.
I think they have like different. It depends on the language, obviously, because there's a lot of those things. But not like English has a bunch of really specific words for different animals, and it's the same reason that very, very few languages make a difference between an animal and its meat linguistically. Like you don't get pig and pork separated, or beef and cow. And
well, that's a function of French influence on English.
Yep. Well, it's specifically a function of French nobility taking over England, and
right the Norman invasion.
Right. And it's a Germanic word while it's out in the field, while the Old English speaking peasants are taking care of it, and it's a Romance word once it reaches the kitchen and the nobility's eating it, which is cow in French is boeuf, and that which is where beef comes from. And all those like different words for groups of animals are partly they're due to those two languages overlapping and clashing, and part of that's just due to Norman nobility having a huge thing about hunting. Like to this day, if there's somebody who has a English last name that has something to do with hunting, their ancestors are probably lesser nobility, because they were the only ones allowed to hunt.
Yeah, I don't think I have to talk too much about what we're doing here. This is a very simple go here, kill things mission.
Mm-hmm. Granted, the things are plenty grody, but
Yes, we're still working on the Draugr, which all have, depending on their level, have these weird first names. Like that was Fjorler Mahler.
It's all Norse.
Old Norse, I am not a linguist by any means, despite our little conversation. But
I remember the Fager, I think it is, or Fag, because that R isn't always
Vager.
pronounced. That's translates roughly to witch or bewitched, I think. I looked this up in the past. Oh, Foler, I don't know actually. That was a different word.
Yeah, I finally went through all the dungeons because this is anniversary week, so they have a bunch of limited edition boss fights going on. So any character of any level can take them on, and you get goodies that you only get once a year. So if you care about this game at all, I'd advise you to hop on and start fighting.
Oh, and I looked up. It means pale or gray. Or ashen.
Yeah, there are corpses, so yeah, that fits.
Oh yeah, apparently there's a quote from a saga here that is pale as ashes, which is used to describe a corpse. So there you go.
The more you know.
Wiktionary, it's a wonderful tool. I love how you can. It'll show the various tenses of words, and it's fascinating looking up like how there is the linguistic and grammatical differences between shit and shat. Is just wonderful to look up and study its evolution over time. If you're a huge nerd, but then I am, so there you go.
It's like what I learned in C-SPAM recently. Did you know fascism and fajita have the same Latin root?
I did not. It's something that's bound, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
And since both Italian, which fascism is from, and Spanish since they're both Latin languages, they share a similar root word.
Like, do you know what the fast case is?
It's some sort of ancient Roman ritual object, I believe.
It's basically you take a big old axe, like a one-handed axe usually, and then you surround it in a bunch of sticks, wrap that together, and carry it around like it's a whole thing. It's a symbol of power bound to the will of usually the populace or to the will of a government. Originally, it was an elected government before the fascists got their hands on it. Like, you can find that symbol in the U.S. Senate chamber, and it was installed before the Italian fascists even came up with the concept. It's an old, well, it's Roman, so it's old. But
shows muscle mass still expanding.
So yeah.
New neural activity. I'm trying to isolate the chemical reactions, but in a soundbite. Zombies on PCP.
I'm pretty sure PCP does not promote muscle growth.
The zombies. They are slabs of dead tissue.
Yeah, who even knows? Like, this is...
But dead. Inert.
Who even
What's the
knows?
stimulus?
My guess? An environmental trigger. See how they've been concentrated around this northern island? We need to contain this mutation. We need to get out there and...
Absolutely no field trips, Radcliffe. Safety first. We're just the science detail. And we're already closer than optimal survival distance to the occult epicenter on this one. Leave that to the red shirts.
And there you go.
Did you just drop a Star Trek reference, sir?
Whatever gave you that idea?
And they had to call attention to it, though. They couldn't just let it rest.
Look, if you could hire a Star Trek actor to do voiceover, you would make a Star Trek reference with them.
Oh, I would. Oh, I absolutely would. But I wouldn't go
like my dad's favorite show, Boston Legal, when William Shatner would make all those Star Trek references.
But, like, there's a difference between having them make Star Trek references and then having them turn to the camera and wink. Like they just
Okay,
did.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. No, my mom likes. My mom watches westerns and Star Trek, a lot of the above, and some. Well, she watches a lot of TV, being a baby boomer, but she watches a lot of westerns and a lot of classic TV sci-fi. That's my only real exposure to Voyager. Just walking past the room while she's watching them try to escape from whoever the hell.
Yeah, Voyager is not good TV.
I hear it's good. Like, trash TV is a little insulting, but I hear it's good. Just sort of, as long as you're
If
not
you don't
paying too
mind,
much attention.
if you don't mind there being no continuity, it's fine. And I don't mean that no continuity in the original serialized sense. I mean in the they will just literally just make shit up and change the definition of things.
It's like, yeah, I do. I found, maybe I'll link it in the thread later. I found a Voyager plot generator online. It's something broken and it always suggests 7 of 9 doing things, but it used to be you could get this completely incoherent plot that sounds absolutely correct just every time you hit that button. I sent it to her.
I just want
respond.
to say, in this LP, we stand for Tuvix, okay? That was not okay what Janeway did.
I will take your word for it.
Anyway, like,
Yeah.
you're essentially looking at most of what the like, they do interesting things with their missions, but some of their missions are very much, we needed a mission. Okay, here's a mission. Look, I can't wait till we get to part 3, Blue Mountain. Just so I can see if I can get some of the Native American goons to come weigh in on this thread. Because Blue Mountain is where the Native American tribe, the Wabanaki, start to show up.
And it's got, I remember them being portrayed like intelligently and sympathetically, but they also...
Oh, they absolutely are, but they also... It's a game about the occult, so they also play up the Native American magic stuff.
And God, that's like... That's a great way to... Yeah, that usually doesn't turn out very well.
I mean, they're not shadow running it, but they are saying, hey, you have ancient magic in your blood, use it.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Blue Mountain is on... How far are we through Solomon Island, do you think? I think we're most of the way through, but not quite near the end yet.
We will finish with Kingsmouth in one more video.
Oh.
We do the last of what the story requires in this video, and the next video is just the last of what's left of the last of the missions that I haven't done. And then the end of that video will be in Savage Coast.
Excellent.
So we get to see the amusement park in Innsmouth Academy.
Oh boy, the amusement park. Oh, I am so looking forward to my favorite part of the game. Oh, it's just fills me with joy.
I will say they have fixed a lot of the problems the amusement park had, even if I can never figure out how to get the achievement for being at the highest part of the amusement park.
Yeah,
because it doesn't look like there's a way to actually get that high.
Yeah, like, oh god, I know people have said, have presented intelligent counter arguments in the thread to all my various issues with it, but they're wrong, and I'll talk about why then. I don't know, but the Innsmouth Academy is just as cheesy, but I think much better executed.
Well, yes, that's because the characters are actually like... That's because there's characters there. And story.
Yeah. And there's
amusement park... The amusement park basically has one dude there who's like, hey, my dad built this. He was kind of fucked up. You want to go take a look at it for me? I have money.
Yeah.
And that's basically all the amusement park. It's like 3 or 4 missions.
Yeah, and meanwhile, the other character... Like, the characters at the academy are actually interesting, and they do their own weird things, and they have their own weird glitches that end up going down on everyone's heads in everyone's memories because they didn't realize it was a piece of bad design. But then I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about in the Savage Coast, and there's even more to talk about in Blue Mountain.
And then we get to deal with fucking Egypt and Transylvania.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to Egypt. Egypt means having Egypt around means I can break out a lot of the more obscure Egyptian stuff I know, and a lot of the obscure Hellenistic and like late Roman stuff that I know.
I will say, if you do play the anniversary stuff, one of the things that happens is there is in Agartha, the big tree chamber place, there is a centrally spawned series of pinatas, and the mods can spawn a behemoth one. And oftentimes they will spawn it and then model change it to something else. I have seen it be a beating human heart, Dr. Klein, and just a regular purple office chair.
That's... Oh yeah, that's just the... Okay, yeah, that...
Yeah, that's just the mods having fun with it. Like, I also saw a dude who had somehow glitched the costume system, so he was a floating head, and then his pet, a white rabbit. So there was a white rabbit, and above that was a floating head.
Beautiful. I like those little What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That was not the best piece of programming I've ever seen. And it vanished when you came out of the menu. They fixed it too late.
I did manage to get all of the secret lore for all the Hell dungeons recently, so...
Why?
You have to run all 3 Hell dungeons within 2 hours, hitting a secret switch in each one to get the final lore.
That sounds kind of nightmarish. I cannot...
It's not really. I mean, they're 3-man dungeons that take like 15 minutes.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah,
That's adaptive science.
Mr. Blake isn't really a people person, and the people of Kingsmouth need that satellite line so badly. Sometimes the greater good doesn't feel very good at all. I don't exactly make the need-to-know level for what's really going on, aside from the obvious. But I do need to know. The group has helicopters flying most nights. Black helicopters. I'm not even kidding.
Yep.
Somewhere out at the airport. Obviously, this is all highly confidential information. Far too confidential for me to have overheard.
Which is why you're telling a complete
stranger.
stranger.
This way before I'm in deep enough to be told. While I can still make like a church-going girl with a clear conscience. Not that Blake will let me visit the church here. Off limits, like the rest of town.
You know the ground rules of an occult outbreak. Quarantine, quarantine...
Quarantine.
Did I miss something?
And now I'm pretty proud of this, because this is my first try doing this with this character, and I succeed in getting the Don't Get Seen by Anyone achievement. Admittedly, it's not as difficult as some of the other Don't Get Seen by Anyone achievements, but I am pretty proud of myself for having done it in one go, with it being a very long time since I've done this mission.
Trying to resist making a rhyme pun. But I can't think of any, so it's pretty easy to resist.
A what pun?
Yeah, I don't even want to explain it, because it's both with reference to classic literature and lame.
Oh, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner.
Yeah, there you go. That's actually a really good poem. Like, there's a lot of classic literature which is just terrible, or which is just really depressing, but it's like you hear the name Emily Dickinson and you think this is going to be the most white bread thing ever, and then you read, the stuff that she wrote, and it's carriage rides with death and rattling chains, and it's surprisingly metal. The Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner is a lot like that.
Quick access inventory updated.
So yes, the reason we get in is because 2 of their people were dumb enough to take a printed copy of their
Highly secret password that they sent through
hired
the email.
secret password outside of the line and then get murdered.
Well, that actually does sound like corporate security.
Yeah.
It's
I'm so glad we have some sort of weird telekinesis.
yeah,
Otherwise, this would be much more difficult.
yeah. Any system is as secure as the people who use it.
Hey. Pebcac. Problem exists between chair and keyboard.
Yeah. Yeah, God, there are so many words. Like, what is it? God, I know there's a programming term for this, but I can't remember what it was. Like for me, I was taught it as the password conundrum, but that's really vague. Idea is if the higher requirements you put on a password, the more you like oblige people to, the more complicated you make it, the more fewer hints you give people, whatever, the more likely they'll make it like
Just write it down.
Yeah, they'll write it down or secure it or store it in an insecure manner, in which case you've actually managed to shoot yourself in the foot. If a less secure password would not have been written down. I don't know. Is there a formal term for that? I swear. Whatever.
There's probably a term for it in computer security.
Yeah, I mean, this area is just not very well patrolled. But well, again, we were just talking about corporate security.
Plus, they didn't figure on dealing with us.
Yeah.
They figured on dealing with the undead.
That's true. Yeah.
This is pretty much enough to keep the undead away.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's nothing here that there are things here that can punch through this, but they're not interested and nowhere nearby. But yeah, like
I do like how she said literal black helicopters.
Yeah, it's
I was about
to make the joke literal black helicopters and she beat me to it.
But you have to see, the thing is that might not work nowadays because a lot of those secret UN black helicopter people, they just don't exist anymore. Remember when conspiracy theories were shit like that and not insane stuff?
Yeah, they were an entirely different kind of insane.
Yes, like the 90s had insane conspiracy theories, but they weren't...
God, I remember chemtrails?
Yes, it's like the 90s had insane conspiracy theories. But conspiracy theories today are just so much more malicious
and immediate.
I don't know how to explain the vibe I get from conspiracy theories.
We have to think enough about modern day conspiracy theories in everyday life and what we hear on the news. Let's keep this focused on all the sillier conspiracy theories that did come up in this game. See, but yeah, you could never do an occult RPG like this today for all kinds of reasons. But yeah.
Well, you might be able to do it if you set it earlier in time.
Yeah.
Like if you set this during the 60s.
Okay, yeah. Or even like the 80s or 90s, just not right now.
Quick access inventory updated.
And now we get to do one of my least favorite side missions, the car key mission. You have some car keys. There's a scrapyard. Find which trunk the car keys fit into. except I can never remember which car it is, and there's 10 million cars, and the junkyard is patrolled by golems.
Oh, good. You know, I remember this mission. I remember it sucking.
Yeah,
it
that's
is just
Edgar. We'll be
pure
seeing him next
manual labor.
video.
Temporary abilities.
And imagine that forever. I remember in the original, like maybe not that flamethrower, but there being like advanced weaponry. You had to beat the game
The
to
flamethrower, there was a flamethrower weapon you could get.
get. Yeah. I think was a chainsaw one of them, because I know you get a chainsaw in another mission here.
I believe a chainsaw was one of
And
them,
I think
yes.
the third was a bazooka.
I wouldn't know. I never got that far in the original.
Yeah. I never really... You had to do specific things to get that far in the original. And, like, by the time I got to the end of the game, I was just sort of... You know how if you do something that's really repetitive, but it isn't awful, you end up kind of entering this meditative trance state?
That's how I play. That's how I play most MMOs.
Yeah, that was me during the entire last half of this game. I would just do that and then wake up anytime someone started talking, and then go back to sleep when they shut up. Or I would wake up whenever I got a new piece of lore. That too. But yeah, it wasn't.
I will say one thing. My main character now I have finally upgraded 2 purples to a yellow, which I think is legendary gear.
Oh. Grats. What's the difference between a feral zombie and a normal zombie?
I don't know, but feral implies the existence of domestic zombies.
Yeah, exactly. Is that like... I remember reading one of those like paranormal romance novels where the main character was a zombie, white trash zombie. I think the title of the book was "My Life as a White Trash Zombie." And I think that would be...
so. My sister had those books.
Yeah, I remember it actually being really good. Like not high literature or anything, but very readable. So you never know.
I don't remember. I never read them, but I do remember what was the zombie romance movie where it turned out the only thing you need to cure zombieism was love.
Oh, I like that movie.
Yes, I did too, but I cannot remember the name.
Yeah,
of
I
it.
can't remember it either. But yeah, that was a clever movie, and it wasn't like a brilliant movie, but it was fun and interesting. And I always look, for me, I actually liked Frozen because I liked the twist at the end with finally turning out in a Disney movie that the prince wasn't the goal of the whole thing. Like, if there's a subversion of that, I'm generally on board. And that subversion was really good in that movie, and there were several big twists like that.
Yeah, this junkyard is also the source of a achievement I haven't gotten, where you essentially have to play the floor is lava with jump.
And just jump back and forth.
You have to be able to jump to a specific point in the junkyard. You have, essentially from that toilet that you saw earlier to another part, and you can never touch the ground.
Beautiful.
And I've never been able to do it.
Yeah, I know. This is not a platformer.
Yeah.
The only games that MMOs that I've ever played that I liked going around to the background was World of Warcraft, because you couldn't get anywhere you weren't allowed, but you could skip sections within a area by climbing up the mountains. I like just mountaineering, and of course City of Heroes. Like, for 2 weeks after I gave up on the game itself, I'd log in, fly around with my character for 20 minutes, land on top of another building, and log out. It was just that sort of simple meditative fun. Which isn't a great profit model for an MMO, but you know. But then that was in the era where you could just sell an MMO and not charge people who were living in it. Those were the days.
I mean, I'm still surprised that Fallout 76 was such a shit show. I mean, you have an IP that's perfect. Just give it to someone who knows how to do MMOs. And they just fuck it in every single way they possibly can.
I have long since stopped trusting AAA game design to do anything competent. It's actually really... There's a reason that they climbed into micropayment hell. It's a really difficult business to squeeze, really difficult process to squeeze profit out of. So they go all kinds of terrifying lengths because we know gamers. Games still cost what they did like 20 years ago, even despite inflation driving things up. And now games have come out less often because they take more work, and it's a really, really unhealthy industry. But it's never going to change unless consumers want it to change, and even then it probably won't, you know? Is that a golem? Yeah, that's a golem.
Yeah, mud golems.
What is there something special about golems in this game? I genuinely don't remember whether they're just constructs or if they have like a lore thing about them.
They have lore about them, but I think they're just constructs. I don't think they mention the golem of Prague, but I don't think they mention intelligent golems or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, these are very much implied to be naturally occurring.
Yeah, that's not something that's like the original golem legend is something very, very different.
Right.
Yeah, I remember reading about this lore. It's like it's weird. The Nazis came up in the lore. Lore for golems, I remember.
Oh, the Jews dug the golem out of
or rather, one of
storage.
One of the survivors dug him out, or like the story. The story basically went that. Okay, do you know the original legend? Outside of like the Vegas details.
Which golem legend? There's a bunch of them.
The golem of Prague.
It was built to stop a Jewish race riot. Like they were going to kill a bunch of Jews, so they built a golem.
Mm-hmm. And the thing,
I believe that's the story.
That's the core of it. The idea is that do you know what Kabbalah is?
Kabbalah is Jewish ritual magic based on the Talmud and the Torah.
That's pretty much it. It's really, really, really. How do I put this? Okay, let me put it this way: the second holiest book in conventional Judaism. First holiest book is the Torah, the Old Testament, plus some other stuff too. The second holiest book is the Talmud, which is thousands of pages of old men arguing about fine points of what like literary interpretation, which and that basically the Kabbalah is that done to the Talmud. And there are so many wild things. Like, if you heard of Neon Genesis Evangelion, that whole all the names in there, all the concepts of angels.
Yeah, it's all Kabbalic stuff because they thought it sounded cool.
Yeah, they counted on their audience not having any idea of what it was, so no one would be able to call their bluff and try and read meaning into it.
Oh, we're gonna meet Danny Dufresne's. Dufresne is named, of course, after Andy Dufresne from Stephen King's The Green Mile.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, The Shawshank Redemption.
Like the August issue of Katana Guy and Headphones Girl. You know, the one in Antarctica with the tentacles and mutant Nazi zombies. I am so psyched to meet you.
That is one thing I will give this game. They didn't go for the low-hanging fruit of Nazis.
Yes.
It's a zombie
Like
apocalypse.
Nazis
It
come
would have
up,
been
but they're not.
so.
Hours I put into
It would have
Left
been
4
so
Dead.
easy to
Let me
just
kill
go
you.
straight
Or
for
would I just
Nazi occult bullshit, but they didn't.
15. Yeah, I'm also like the last man standing. Not counting Andy or Moose or Henry or Edgar. Anyway, it's not like I'm accidentally going to shoot anyone. Living. This sheriff doesn't even believe I saw the MIBs roll up in their black vans with no license plates.
I
I
don't
used my
remember.
RC plane with a wireless webcam, got a bird's eye view of the action. They're packing some sweet tech. Real
I don't
made in
remember
Area
talking like
51
this
stuff.
when I was a teen.
Good thing they're on our side. They are on our side, right?
Oh God, I just noticed his hair.
I figured they would be.
Oh, that is a
Putting up the
that's
His
a
hair-
Lego figure
You know the
hair
draw.
hairdo right
Probably
there.
Yeah.
experimenting on them. Think alien autopsy footage in front of a live studio audience. That'd be really neat. In a totally gross way, of course.
Yeah, he was in the what was it called? The League of Monster Slayers, right?
Yes, we will see the League of Monster Slayers in Savage Coast.
Yeah.
They're a bunch of cool guys and girls.
Mm-hmm. And also a Stephen King reference, though a really oblique one. We'll get to that when we
What?
get to that. It's
I don't remember
It.
what that would be a reference to.
it.
Okay, here we go for one of the puzzles we need. We need a hint. My wife. So let's go look at these dead bodies.
Yeah.
Emily Chan and Kitsune Hayabusa.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Kitsune isn't anybody's actual given name, but you know.
Now, what do we do with that? Well, we mention that they're. Well, what we do is we Google the answer. But what we're supposed to do is go to the website mentioned in their email, and then they have fake, like,
Right, I remember this.
testimonials, and this guy mentions his wife's name in one of them.
Like, well, there was.
See, go to orochigroup.net. He mentions his wife. Blah blah blah. Find the stuff. Undo it. I hate this one because I can never remember what parts to turn on and off.
Yeah, Orochi has a website. A lot of these things have websites that you can visit, and then get
They're
bounced
still
out
up
of.
too.
Yeah, because the game's still up, but you can go visit the sites and then get bounced out of them because you don't have the right information to access anything. Because it's all just buried in side quests.
Still, I do give them props for doing shit like that. Like, that is a great thing.
And that's something
more
you.
MMOs need to do. More modern MMOs need to do shit like that.
Yeah. It takes actual effort, and like a lot of MMOs put actual effort into things, but they all put actual effort into the same things, and making quests interesting, especially even side quests, is just not something that falls on most people's radars.
Now watch me futz around with this for 5 minutes.
'Cause, yeah, there's a billion buttons on that thing.
Yeah, and you got to do them in order.
Oh God, that I don't. I may have given up on this quest because I remember.
No, what you did is you looked it up.
Yeah. I remember the first part. I remember finding those bodies and looking that stuff up, especially. I don't remember actually working with this piece of machinery. So
And if you fuck up too much or take too long, enemies spawn. A fallen Norseman archer. So, we haven't mentioned it before, but we're in Maine, New England, Vinland. So yes, the Native Americans fought evil with the help of Vikings.
Yes, They sailed over here to help. Also, the Mayans, I think. If I
They
remember
fought
right.
yes. What they fight was evil Mayans utilizing the help of the Vikings.
Which makes perfect sense. Absolutely.
Look, it's unorthodox, and I like that they did it.
It is. I mean, it is. To me, it feels that one thing feels a lot like looking for names and then slapping things on. But God, that design is really in an area where there's a lot of zombies and mutated zombies around. There, you couldn't come up with a design that was more clearly saying this is not what's actually going on. But yeah, there were a lot of Norsemen around here. Though I think they do kind of imply. Yeah, they do say, and this is in the lore, but it doesn't come up again. So they do say that most of the Vikings that came here and fought survived, but returned home and brought this with them, and they ended up infecting their communities.
Yes, which is essentially their explanation for why Vinland failed.
You know, that's actually probably. I don't think I caught that, but that's probably right.
It specifically says in the lore, the reason they're called Draugr, the reason they take on these Norseman names is essentially it's just an aspect of the filth manifesting itself through storytelling. Because that's all everyone was fighting was the filth. And it manifested itself, I think it explicitly says maliciously, through their bedtime stories, their nightmares.
Oh, by the way, fun fact. Not Faray there. You did. There was one guy that slightly larger who had a unique name.
Yeah.
That was the name of the first guy who lived in Iceland. He got kicked off of a boat and then ended up, or rather, the first known person who lived in Iceland. There were probably some monks who were hanging out there before the 900s, but the first Norseman to set foot on the island. Icelandic sagas are wild.
Now, what we're about to see is more of Skateboard Dude. And you might be wondering, what's with this glade and this light and the sacrificial altar? Nothing. Nothing ever happens there. It's just set dressing. As for me doing this, I thought there might be lore in here. There isn't, and you never actually use that place. It's just sort of there.
That smacks of this is where we hold a special event. At least to me.
If you're passing, at least stop in for a bug.
Yeah.
And now we have another stealth mission I do perfectly the first time.
I bet you've been out there punching darkness in the face and kicking evil in the, nuts. Or maybe you've been checking up on the MIBs? Come on. Dead guys followed by very much alive guys in black suits and black vans? Connect the dots. Anyway, that's what I've been doing. Connecting the dots. I rigged one of my RC planes with a wireless webcam. No biggie. Super easy stuff.
This guy talks like an adult trying to talk like a teenager who's trying to talk cool.
Not to get footage of Mr. Rosen, my math teacher, watering the flowers in his underpants so I could put it on YouTube. That wasn't me. Flying this thing is like air traffic control in Silent Hill.
Name drop.
I pretty much have to rely on, like, the Force.
Name drop.
And then every time I get over the edge of the MIB camp, wham! It goes dead. And it goes down. They got some kind of signal scrambling going on. Maybe even EMP? I'd so love to get my hands on that tech. Of course, I got, like, mad skills, so I managed to salvage the plane every time. But I have to keep pulling it out of trees and gluing bits back on. I'd really like to see what's going on inside that perimeter. Like Mr. Rosen used to say, try again, Dufresne. Of course he's a zombie now. Not that he's changed much. He's still Mr. Rosen, and he's still wearing those way too tight underpants.
Yeah, we completely talked over his last time when he name dropped Left 4 Dead, which sucks because he name dropped Left 4 Dead, which dates when this game came out. Because he didn't say Left 4 Dead 2, he said Left 4 Dead. So I already know that you're gonna like Edgar. The threat at least will, because he is unique.
I didn't hit. I think I only hit so much of this game. I don't remember doing many of Dufresne's quests. So
he only has the 3.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I remember Edgar.
Edgar isn't Dufresne, he's the junkyard guy.
Oh, I know. Yeah, but I don't know if I remember him. Yeah, we'll see. It has been kind of a hot minute since I last played The Secret World. Do like talk to the unearthed rebel. It's a very Bethesda approach to that.
And then we can go to the Orochi camp again. We sure are lucky that these clothes fit us.
Yeah. And are still in anywhere near into. Yeah, there it is.
And now I kind of got ahead of myself.
I don't remember this game, how this game handles sequence breaking.
It doesn't. You have to go back and do the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't wait to show you their experimental camp in Blue Mountain. You're gonna love that one.
Yeah, that one I remember vividly. That's a wild one.
Yeah, those missions are fucking annoying because you have to be very precise in a very small area, covered in these drones that are constantly following you.
So yeah, it's a lot of fun. God, nobody's.
I really can't wait to show you guys the first Hell dungeon. because you get to meet the Messiah of Hell.
Yes.
And his story goes through all 3 of the Hell dungeons, and I'll have to record them and show them all to you.
See, I remember, I never actually did any of the dungeons. I have read some of the lore, though, and the lore is pretty wild, and the lore goes deep into the background of the secret world, which I'm always a sucker for.
Mm-hmm.
I whenever you have a setting, go back to the most obscure, formative part of the setting, and that's what I'm interested in. Like in the Elder Scrolls, the era I'm interested in, the canonical names of those time periods have never come up in dialogue, just in like books and stuff. One day I'll tell the thread about the nature of the Dawn era, and how towers pin down reality. And that is some trippy shit hidden behind your shouting horses off ledges simulator. Oh, yes.
And now we've seen Edgar's Scrapyard, but here's the last character that we are going to be dealing with.
I remember this guy.
And they represent a faction that we haven't talked about yet.
Well, I mean, we've mentioned it, but we haven't gone into it.
Right, because there's the Templars, the Illuminati, and the Dragon. But there's also the 4th faction who work as mercenaries, the Phoenicians. And you can tell them because they love purple.
Mm-hmm. And like, if you thought the other factions were bad, the Phoenicians are just as bad with no redeeming features.
Literally no redeeming features.
Like even the Illuminati are helping, but the Phoenicians don't give a shit.
Okay, replace that. The Illuminati think they're helping.
Well, I mean, they are fighting the filth, all told.
Yeah, okay, I will give them that. They are fighting the filth.
Yeah, they don't. I'm not going to give them much credit on anything else, but they are doing that, and the Phoenicians don't even care about that.
Local bounty detected. Initiating.
Yeah, I have to upgrade this character and go through my combat bar and fix things because he's very slow at killing.
Mm-hmm.
Initializing.
I think the thing I hated most about the original Secret World was if you were out of that power, you didn't have any attacks, so you just kind of had to take a hit until you got enough power.
Yeah.
Which meant you died really quickly and easily. Or at least you did if I was playing.
Yeah,
Now, I was very lucky here to find exactly where I needed to be without really looking.
So I did.
The reason.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and this has nothing. What I've just found has nothing to do with what you're saying. So go ahead and finish your thought.
Yeah, I just saw that ripple in the water, and that was the treasure chest.
Mm-hmm.
But we're gonna do one last thing, and that is fight an undead pirate.
Which is wonderful.
Okay, what were you gonna say?
There was a another one of those like we saw a vidder front end thing. What's it called?
Mm-hmm.
Prefix? No, not prefix.
prefix.
And it's strictly, well, like, I don't even know. Oh, hey. Oh, yeah. So it's a proper golden age of piracy pirate. Yeah, I do not think I would have remembered doing this. So this is new to me.
It's just a side mission, so we just find him and kill him.
Mhm.
But yeah, Dixie Bull's just right over here, chilling. And then we re-murder him.
Not terribly excited. Just throwing up on.
And that's about it. We have 30 seconds, a little less than 30 seconds before this episode is over.
So,
And believe me, literally as this is over, I will be recording the next part of the episode. So you can expect that as soon as Falconeer has more time to record and our editor has more time to edit.
Mhm.
That'll be up soon.
And
I certainly, as an unemployed person, have plenty of time to do all sorts of shit.
then,
But
until then,
thanks for watching.
thank you for watching and see you later.
See ya.